Have you ever heard of stone soup? Even better, have you ever tasted stone soup? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about how stone soup came to be. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there were two men who enjoyed travelling around. They went from country to country, town to town, house to house, telling their stories and sharing their magical soup. They really enjoyed their lifestyle, and they always had to fill themselves up with stone soup before they left their little sprinkling of magic wherever it was they had visited. One day they came to a village that was a little bit different to all the rest. The people were not as friendly, did not open their doors as easily, and didn't seem at all interested in listening to the stories that these great men told. In fact, they were very, very suspicious. Now, this wasn't an atmosphere that the two travelling men had encountered before. They knocked at a door, the first door they met, yellow door in the village, and they said, excuse me, would you have a potato that you could share with us? We are making stone soup. The door slammed in their face. They went to another house, a green door. Hello, could you? Didn't even get the words out. The door slammed in their face. Third, blue door, same thing happened. So the two men went down into the village square, which was actually right in the middle of the village. It was a small little place, and it was actually surrounded by many of the houses that they had just knocked at. They sat there for a while and they examined their stone. And they thought, well, we really need a lot of ingredients before we can eat today. Now there was an old lady not too far from the men, and she was sitting outside her house with her cat. What are you looking for? She asked. Well, we want to make some stone soup. Have you heard of it? The two men said. She was a very old and wise lady, and she thought to herself, and she said, yes, I think this town could do with some stone soup. What can I help you with? Well, first we need a big pot. I can give you one of those. So one of the men went over to the lovely old lady and took the pot that she offered them from her kitchen, and they filled it with water. And he brought it out to the square and he put it down in front of him. And then he dropped in the stone. The two men sat there for a few minutes, and sure enough, there was a little bit of curiosity, a bit of twitching of curtains, and a few children sent out to look and see what was going on. Eventually they were approached by a little boy who said, excuse me, mister, what are you doing? Oh, we're making stone soup. It's a magical kind of soup, and it only has one really important ingredient, stone. The boy kind of came a little bit closer and peeped into the pot, and he could see the water had started to boil, because of course they had a fire lit underneath. And the water was boiling, and the stone was there. Wow, said the little boy. Yeah, it's a pity that we couldn't get a potato to put into it. That really adds a little bit of flavour. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone gave us a potato? The little boy ran up to his mammy and got a potato. Came back, two men, thank you, dropped the potato into the soup. A little girl, not wanting to be outdone, said, what else would go nice in the stone soup? Carrot would be quite nice. Off she went to get a carrot. Her little friend got an onion. Other little boy got a parsnip. And before they knew it, the children were offering the men all the ingredients that they needed to add flavour to this very special stone soup. The smell started to rise from the pot and reached the noses of the grown-ups who were still inside. The grown-ups were tempted to come out and to follow their children towards the big pot of stone soup. The two travelling men winked at the old lady who was still sitting in the doorway with her cat, and they said, would you like to taste our stone soup, ma'am? Oh, I'd love to, she said, and over she came with a big silver spoon. She stirred the pot a little bit, and she dipped her spoon into the soup and she took a taste. This is truly delicious, she said. I think it's been made from magic. I want to taste, said a little voice. I want to taste too, I want to taste too, said another little voice. Well, we need some bowls and a few spoons if we're going to share our stone soup. So off they went to the mummies and daddies who weren't too far away and came back with bowls and spoons. All the children at this stage were sitting in a circle around the pot of stone soup. And the old lady helped to share it. And everybody got a big, generous helping of soup. Now, the mummies and daddies were still a little suspicious, but actually, really, they were really hoping that they might get a taste of the stone soup. The two traveller men looked at each other and their new friend, the lady with the cat, and they said, would anyone else like to taste our stone soup? And so all the townsfolk gathered closer and made an even bigger circle. And before long, everybody was eating this magical stone soup, which had been made out of only one ingredient and many sprinkles of magic. And they often wondered what gave that stone soup its flavour that day, as we all sat together, listening to stories of wonderful travels and adventures, looking at the smiles of our children and tasting this magical soup. What do you think it was gave it its wonderful flavour? What ingredient? Was it the stone? Or was it something else? Something much deeper? That's one to think about.